going? Welcome back to EB Yoga. Today I'd like to talk about shit you shouldn't say on yoga shirts. So I'll start by saying I am 100% guilty of doing this. Every shirt you're going to see in this video is something that I wore, but at the time I didn't know better. I didn't know that my clothes could be seen as offensive or disrespectful. I had heard of cultural appropriation, but I didn't fully understand what it was until I took a training with Alexandria Crow and Amara Miller. So cultural appropriation is when someone from outside of a culture takes something from a different culture, whether it be knowledge, traditions, or cultural expressions, and takes them without any permission or understanding or acknowledgement of the culture from which they took that. Cultural appreciation will be the opposite. So it's when you borrow or take something from another culture and you have permission and understanding and you acknowledge the source culture from which that tradition came. So in my opinion, in America, we're not doing a very good job of appreciating the yoga practice, and we're actually doing a lot more cultural appropriation. Basically, we've taken this ancient spiritual practice that originated in Southeast Asia, and we've turned it into an aerobics class with sort of a sprinkling of spiritualism in there sometimes. Sometimes there's not at all. Sometimes it's just like straight up an aerobics class. The focus of a lot of yoga classes in America is just hotter classes, faster classes, more challenging classes, crazier poses, combining yoga with other physical activities. Now, I'm not saying that every single yoga teacher in America is guilty of cultural appropriation. But before you stick your hands up and say, that's not me, let's take a look at some of these things, because I really didn't have a clue until I was educated. And cultural appropriation is a big, important topic, and I will definitely be making some more videos on that. But today, I just want to focus on the shit you shouldn't say on yoga shirts. So I mentioned yoga is an ancient spiritual practice originating in Southeast Asia. Yoga is not a religion, but it is a spiritual practice. And so similar to religions that have symbolism and traditions and things like that, yoga has those same kind of things. So let's look at yoga versus going to church. Again, spirituality and religion are different, but similar enough that you could see the amount of respect that you would have for a church or a religion, and why are we not showing that same respect to our ancient yoga practice? So rocking my yoga coffee naps shirt. What if this was replaced with church? Would you wear a shirt that said church coffee naps? Less Monday, more yoga? How about less Monday, more church? Wait, how about less Mondays, more Sundays? Now that'd be more appropriate. Or more appropriation. And then we have mala beads, which I think I'm going to need to make a whole nother video on, but for now I just want to say, would you wear your rosary out and about like a necklace? Or what about a bracelet? I have literally been to yoga trainings with people walking around with this many malas. Like, do you think it makes you more spiritual? I don't understand. Because okay, and 100% guilty. I used to wear my malas as jewelry all the time. But then as I've started thinking about this, like if I meditate with my mala in the morning as part of my spiritual practice, am I still respecting the mala as a spiritual tool when then I'm out wearing it as jewelry? And I mean, I've seen people with them on in the bar. Now let's take a look at Om, pictured here in the middle of my t-shirt. Om is considered one of the most sacred sounds in the yoga practice, and is considered to be the sound of the universal energy and a unifying, uniting sound. It is not a sound or chant that is worshiping to any god, but rather symbolizing the connectivity of the universe. Om might be chanted at the beginning or end or both of a yoga class, but often in America, Om is left out in terms of the Om. And it's this Om that you see on all of the clothing and the yoga pants. And I even had a teacher friend of mine tell me a studio she taught at that had Om stickers on the ground to mark the spot where you're supposed to put your mat. So imagine Om being this most sacred sound and symbol, and like, yeah, let's just throw it on a sticker on the floor and slap it on some t-shirts. Take me Om tonight. Thought this was so cute when I found it. Now I'm thinking, Eddie Money, you can keep your song. It doesn't belong on a yoga shirt. Bring It On. Personally, I prefer Bring It On, the cool cheerleader movie starring Kirsten Dunst from the early 2000s. I'm cute, popular. At some point in my yoga teaching career, I was on a mission to get an Om shirt in every color. I am guilty of buying the same shirt in multiple colors. This has just got a little Om. I don't know if you can see that in the middle there. So my question is, what if we took a sound, a symbol, a word that was really important in another religion or culture and just slapped it on a bunch of t-shirts, made funny slang sayings about it? Like, what about amen or amen? Yes, there are shirts that say amen for Raymond. Anybody offended? Anybody? Oh, namaste. Perhaps the most common yoga word that we just slaughter. Namaste is a respectful greeting used for hello and goodbye, and meant to show that the person saying it has the understanding of seeing the divinity within each human being. In America, we say a lot of times, the light within me sees the light within you, or the divine within me sees, honors, accepts the divine within you. We put a lot more words to it to interpret it, when really it's mostly just commonly a respectful greeting. But I think the key word here is respect. And when we use namaste at the end of class, it's supposed to be a very respectful thing. But I've kind of gotten away from it just because of the context and the reputation it's getting, and it's not seen as this light, positive word anymore. We've lost a lot of the respect for it, in my opinion. And I am guilty of the namaste jokes. And I have taught workshops called things like Namaste-in tonight. So again, 100% guilty. Namaste in bed, guilty. Namaste at home, guilty. Namaste at home with my cat, guilty. And please don't get me started on Namaste Rosé and Namaste Cabernet, and that's another video. And I think this one might be the worst. What does this mean? Seriously, what does namaste bitches mean? And we couldn't just leave yoga alone. Like, let's mix it up with some other cultures, like some Spanish heritage in here. Shavasana until mañana. Lo siento, mis amigos. Maybe the designer of this shirt just didn't want to leave anybody out, so he decided to just combine a bunch of things. We've got, let's see, the Om symbol, and then we've got the star and the moon, which is Islam. We got the yin yang representing the Chinese philosophy. It's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. So I hope you learned something here in this video and maybe kind of understand where some of this yoga stuff is kind of going awry here, and where we need to be a little bit more respectful and acknowledge the roots of our yoga practice. I try to live by the Maya Angelou quote of, do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. So as I've said several times in this video, I am 100% guilty of cultural appropriation. But now that I know better, I am trying to do better, and I hope you'll do the same. See you again soon.